Welcome to the podcast. I'm your host, Paji Carter. I'm here with the Custom Beat King once again. How you feeling, good
Absolutely,
brother?
my brother. How are you feeling today? Peace and
Hey.
blessings to everybody out there watching the LFX Media podcast. We are on Roku, Amazon Fire, and we are on Web TV plus LFX Media live.
We also can be found on YouTube, LFX Media. Subscribe, even though we have our own platform, we still want to build
The
the
YouTube.
YouTube channel. So go
Yes,
ahead
yes.
and subscribe, comment, like, do it all, be it all, and come check us out at lfxmedia.live.
Do it all,
Uh,
be it all.
yes, sir. Are you guys woke out there? What's
Oh,
going on?
mm.
Everybody woke?
I think especially around here today, everybody's woke. It was on a somber note. There was a
Oh,
tragic happening
mm,
last night. Two very popular people from the city were murdered in front of a bar slash nightclub
oh, wow.
on the east side of Pittsburgh, and I want to send my condolences to their families and friends. And yeah, it's just senseless, man. It's just senseless out here, and you know, we need to wake up. I think that's
Yeah.
that's that's one thing that I will put out there early in this podcast.
Yes, indeed. Definitely heartfelt blessings out to the family and friends of this tragic and it's not just isolated to the
No.
Berg. It's going on all over the country. A lot of young people are going through some things that they're triggered, and I believe they're triggered, and I think that's why we're here.
Yeah, we're here today to talk a little bit about that, and also the four horsemen, which I know Paji will be able to enlighten us much more on that. So you
Mhm.
guys definitely stick in and stay tuned because we are going in and we are digging down the rabbit hole once again.
As the content kings do,
Yes, we
that's,
do.
it's our duty,
Yeah.
and uh, I'm kind of disturbed. University of Houston took a L. We're not
Mm,
going. We're still hosting the Final Four, but we
but
got
won't
knocked.
advance in the tournament.
Yeah, we got knocked out by the Hurricanes. Shout out to the Hurricanes. I mean,
Shout out to the Hurricanes, but no shade on the Houston program because what a resurgence this year was. Hmm.
it was, and it was. I guess the fairy tale beginnings of 34 years ago, Phi Slamma Jamma. You had Akeem Olajuwon, Clyde Drexler, Andre Young, all of these guys that made up
Oh,
the
absolutely.
Phi Slamma Jamma, and they
What a team
lost.
that was.
Yeah, they
And they
lost
lost. That's right. They lost at the end.
to Georgetown with an alley oop. That ooh,
Yeah. We'll stick in the brains of the Houston faithful for
yeah, I just got to chill just thinking about that shot. But
boy. I tell you,
yeah,
we've seen some great moments in sports over the years, and that was
we have.
definitely one up there. That was up there.
We have. I mean, from a lot of people will look at previous pods, or we took the GOAT conversation. I'm a big fan of LeBron, not only of his play on the court, but the man that he is off the court. You
Oh
know,
man, got to tip your cap to LeBron. He's
Mhm.
definitely a consummate professional on and off the floor.
For sure. But we have had some moments, and I remember being on 21st in Holland when Jordan did that over under move where he switched hands,
You
and
mean against the Lakers in the NBA Finals?
we ran out of the house into the street on 21st Street holding like, did you see that? What in the
No.
world did we just see?
What in the world did we just see? And it was just I mean, you had to be there. You know,
Yeah.
it's dope to see it in clips now when they play it
Hmm.
back on social media. But
Yeah.
if you were actually there and you were watching that game, uh,
Hmm.
there meaning like in the moment, right as it was happening,
Oh
and
yeah.
he pulled that move out, you just started thinking like, what can't Michael Jordan do,
Yeah. Yeah.
and what can't he do?
What are the limitations of this man's body?
Yeah,
And honestly, to be honest with you, Pad, I didn't realize. I knew how big his hands were. You know what I mean? But the joining of his thumb, it goes a little bit further down than the average thumb. So when you see him doing that ball fake, you know what I mean? He has a double jointed thumb that allowed him to really
get
make
a
a fool
strong.
of you.
Yeah, he had a strong control of the basketball.
Yeah.
If anything, he may have scientifically, and I'm not a scientist, but
Hmm.
scientifically, Jordan probably had the best hands for basketball.
Yeah, and he explained that thumb, and he compared it to another thumb of one of our greats, Dr. J. Julius Irving has that same type of thumb. And if you
Yes,
see him rock the cradle and dunk, and you see a lot of his moves, he was the predecessor. He was the guy that Mike got a lot of this inspiration from. So shout out to the doc.
absolutely,
Hmm.
absolutely. Big shout out to the doc. That's one of my heroes. I think I was inspired to play basketball because of players like Dr. J.
Here, here.
Sure.
He definitely made his presence with that afro, and being out in society and in the community, having a voice. You
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? I think that's just as important as being a star athlete, having a
for sure.
voice in your community. And we had guys like Dr. J, we had Lou Alcindor, uh, all of these guys, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. They had a voice, and they
Yeah.
what they said meant something. You know.
Yes, and can't forget about the captain Bill Russell.
Oh, sure.
We definitely have to give Bill his flowers, especially since he has just passed away not too long ago. But
Absolutely.
his championing for social justice and all of the agendas that he chose to tackle in that era, just being in that era and
All
standing
of
up
the
for what's right
above.
and playing in a town that is predominantly known as a racially motivated town, you know
Very.
and he stood up against all of that and still was able to be a champion on and off the floor. So big ups to brother Bill Russell.
Without a doubt. And he also did some things that will probably never be done again. Um, the
Right.
amount of from the amount of rings that he acquired.
Well, I think that's one that he could definitely safely tuck away for years to
Yeah,
come.
that's a wrap.
Yeah,
But during the process of that, he actually was a player coach for one of those rings.
oh, and that's a significant thing about his basketball career is that he actually won a title being a coach and checking himself in and out of the game.
Bro, when you I
People
mean,
don't understand the significance of that, but that is quite a significant feat, if you will.
yeah, I'm not a big fan of the GOAT conversation, but
Right.
I mean,
Me either.
our duty as journalists, we have to put something out there. We can't always, defer like, I have no opinion. We have opinions. We have favorite players. We have favorite people. We have commissioners that we rather have not been in place. We have a lot of
Absolutely.
we have a lot of opinions, but
Absolutely.
yeah, we asked the question at the beginning of the pod. Are you guys woke out there? Let's see something in the comments today. Let's see something. Share what we're given, because these last few pods have been so powerful that
Absolutely.
we need you to share. We're talking about algorithms. We're talking about bots. We're talking about artificial intelligence, and I let's get into the question. of the day, and hopefully someone to drop their opinion in the comments. What does actually the word woke mean for you? We had a young lady go viral, and she's a conservative author. And they asked her what to explain what woke meant to her, and she had like a 5 minute explanation. She pretty fumbled it around, but I'll give my opinion of woke in something really simple that I got, and it sticks with me from I was about to say Gregory Hines. What's my man's name? Um,
Dick Gregory.
Dick Greg. What was I about to call him? Gregory Hines. Oh, Dick Gregory. He
Yeah,
was,
yeah, they fall along a little bit along the similar lines. You know, they both
yeah.
were entertainers,
Well,
and
Dick Gregory started
both
as
had
a
a little bit of humor
comedian.
go along with them. So you know,
Yeah, he started as a comedian and ended up just being one of our greatest activists in our community, you know.
absolutely, all the way to the end.
But one of the things that he said was, once you've been awakened, you can't go back to sleep.
Right.
And my
Profound
version of
statement.
woke wraps around that statement. You know what I'm saying? So as you get into politics, as you get into the history of the world, knowing where you come from is a big part of knowing where you're going. So even with us just celebrating Black History last month, um, I'm not a big fan of Black History either. Every day is history with us, in
Yeah,
my
I echo
opinion.
that sentiment. Yeah,
Yeah,
I think that putting us in a month, putting our people in a month is kind of shameful in a way because
it
we
is.
make up so much of the fabric of this country
Yeah.
and other countries. You know, for that matter, around the world.
Worldwide, the beginning of civilizations. If you go back and look at these pyramids, and
Which
and
are
just
marvels, by the way. I didn't mean to cut into you, but they're
for sure,
marvels,
for
and
sure,
people are still trying to figure out how the pyramids were built, and they can't figure it out.
the machinery was not there. Those things were so heavy. Each block was so heavy. Like, and I know they had a system of pulling up on a rope type situation, but the mathematics that goes with that,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, is so much. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, we got a
quite
comment.
significant indeed. Well, I
Yeah.
have my own little spin on the woke thing too.
Mm-hmm.
Woke for me is absolutely dealing with awareness, which is
Mm-hmm.
kind of like piggybacking on what you said. And my primary thing is being aware. And if you look in the dictionary, that's probably what you're going to see. As a matter of
Mm-hmm.
fact, Statman has the definition right here. Uh,
Kaboom.
the definition of woke is aware, especially of social problems such as racism and inequality.
Mm.
Now factor that in. This is
Mm-hmm.
our English dictionary
Mm-hmm.
definition of what being woke is. It's
Mm-hmm.
an adjective. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And it's like when we tell each other, yeah, hey, my brother, stay woke. Hey, my sister, stay woke.
Mm-hmm.
Stay woke out there. Stay woke out there. That means be aware. And
Mm-hmm.
as long as you start to tap into your own personal awareness of your surroundings, of your situations that you place yourself in, and situations that you choose not to put yourself in,
Mm-hmm.
I think that all has to deal with being woke. And that's kind of like where I put things. How aware are you of these things? Not just
Absolutely.
what happens to us, as far as socially, racially, and inequality, like the definition says, but just all the way around the board, having awareness of where you are, who you are, what you are, you know,
Spiritually.
and what others are. But it starts primarily with us, and I think it's an individual thing. Uh, at the forefront of my definition of woke. You know what I mean? It's
Mm-hmm.
almost kind of like you literally need to take these things on yourself, before you
Mm-hmm.
can kind of like transfer it around and spread it around to others. You know,
Indeed. So,
absolutely. Because so you know, one thing's for sure, Podge, is there's times where we're meant to be in the dark. Meant. And I say meant because you're going to have your periods of life where you are living in the darkness.
mm-hmm,
But when you come to the light, which is another, you know, adjective, kind of
mm-hmm,
like speaking for woke, you know what I'm saying? When you come to the light, you know
mm-hmm,
what I mean? When you come to the light, you are now aware. That means woke. That means awareness. So you have to go through these peaks. You have to go through the valleys. You have
mm-hmm,
to take your time. And there's an old, you know, there's an old saying that I always live by. And ever since I got this saying, I've been practicing it and putting it into play. And
mm-hmm,
it's basically this: when you run, you might miss some things along the way on your journey. But when you walk, you actually see everything. And I think that we need to learn how to take a step back and instead of running into things so much, running into relationships, running into the next job, running into the next state, running into the next phase of your life, take a second and walk sometimes.
mm-hmm,
And I
mm-hmm,
think you'll be surprised at what you come across because you may have missed something along the way when you ran.
mm-hmm. Yep.
For sure.
Um, it reminds me of the movie Colors, where the cops was Sean Penn and
Sure.
what's the older guy? He just
Oh,
passed recently
I
too.
forgot his name, but I know exactly who you're talking about. And he actually made an appearance in a lot of the movies that we grew up watching. So,
Yes,
so
yes,
yes, I definitely remember who you're talking about, though.
yep. He gave Sean Penn the joke, and Sean kind of fumbled it, but basically he was telling, the joke goes like this. There's two bulls at the top of the hill. The
Yes, I
the
remember this.
the little bull says, "Hey, let's run down there and get one of those cows." And the older bull says, "No, let's walk down and
And
let's
get them
get them
all.
all."
And get them all. And get them all.
Yeah, so take a walk, smell the flowers,
Sure.
uh, pick a rose on your way. Take your time. You might see something en route when you're taking your time, that running so fast, you're more concentrating on the speed of moving instead of enjoying each step, each day, each moment. So let's do that.
I think that that's a great way to put it, man. But his
Mm.
real name was Robert Duvall.
Robert Duvall for sure. In
Robert
a
Duvall.
lot, in a lot of movies that we can remember going back in the day.
Oh man, how many movies has he appeared in? My goodness, he was laced. He
Mm-hmm.
was
Yeah,
laced with plenty of silver screen credits, if you will.
plenty. Yeah.
Plenty.
So we'll get into what we came here for. As you know, we'll get to it and stick to it as a phrase that we
We've adapted. I mean, I've
yeah, we've
adapted.
adapted it.
Yeah, I got to give credit to the author, my man Two G's up here in
Always,
Pittsburgh.
always
He
give
would say that
credit to
on
the
his
art.
records a lot, and it kind of resonated with me because
Mm.
our mentality has to start shaping itself into that. We have to
Consistency.
have a get to it, stick to it mentality,
Mm-hmm.
consistency.
Mm-hmm.
Consistency, like Mellow PDC said, we got to have some consistency in our lives. Consistency brings a lot of good things about.
Mm-hmm.
And if we start, you know, channeling ourselves into getting to it and sticking to it, you know, I think that, you know, ever since I adapted that principle, it kind of made me want to do things like the 100 beats. It made me
Mm-hmm.
do things like, you know, take a ride somewhere that you've never been. You know,
Mm-hmm.
if your car can make it there, go there and see what you're missing. You know, or you know what? Maybe I need to start getting up a little bit earlier in the day because I realize that there's 24 hours in a day. And to be
Mm-hmm.
brutally honest with you, whose rule was it really that 6, 7 o'clock in the morning is the time that you wake up?
Oh yeah.
You know, you could start your day at 3. And if you get to 11 a.m., you've done 8 hours of your day already. And we have to start being more mindful of that. But that's how productive things can be if you
Mm-hmm.
decide that you want to be more proactive. And we talk about these things. We talk about action. Like it's good to talk about things. It's good to get around the table and talk about stuff. We talk a lot. That's just our people. We talk a lot. But
Mm-hmm.
putting the ball into play is where we drop the ball. Okay.
Execution.
Execution. Like we have to put some action in with those words. We can talk
Mm-hmm.
about things until we're blue in the face, but what are our actions saying? What are
Mm-hmm.
we what is our actions? And not only our actions, but our reactions.
Mm. For every action, there's a equal and opposite reaction.
Surely
You're
is.
just the mathematics of every the whole scheme of what we're talking about. Like starting off, if you start off in the dark, that's the only way you're gonna know about light and being woke. You have to be asleep
Yes.
in order to be woke. So,
It is called the difference.
mm,
And that's what we need to start realizing is that there is a clear and cut difference between
mm-hmm,
these dynamics. As we know day, we know light.
mm-hmm,
As we know sleep, we know woke. As we know still, we know move.
mm-hmm. We know lie, we know truth.
Yes.
There's a yin to every yang, and
Yep.
you see that symbol, and some people think it's a neat tattoo, but yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's a neat tattoo, but
Very similar to my to the symbol for Pisces.
very,
I'm a Pisces myself. And
very.
basically what the Pisces represents is two fish
Mm-hmm.
swimming in opposite directions.
Mm. If you didn't know, now you know.
You and when you know, you grow.
You grow. And just to add on to what you were saying about consistency and being about it, you know what I'm saying? A lot of podcasts previously, my goal was to introduce a book every podcast, and I don't think I've been doing that, and I need to get back to it and stick back to it. So
Yes.
today, our actual title comes from a book that is called The Four, which is
Mm,
it's a hidden DNA of Amazon, Apple, Facebook, and Google.
mm,
These are the four horsemen that we're talking about.
mm,
And when you talk about productivity, when you talk about run running the jewels, so to say,
running the
uh,
jewels.
they've run all the mom and pops out of business when it comes to
Ah,
looking at Amazon himself. He started selling books online, and now he sells everything but the kitchen sink online. And
mm,
it's a huge operation, and and when you say the four horsemen, we'll get to that later on. But the analogies that this author uses and bringing up the four horsemen, we're going to get into to it a little later. But actually, Amazon is Earth's biggest store.
mm.
So when
Wow.
you, yeah, so the value, we used to look at Walmart, as the biggest store, when it came out, and they actually were holding position as the go-to. Walmart this, Walmart that. But Amazon came along and actually just ran, everybody out of town. So they are the biggest, they are the world store now, Amazon that is.
Mm,
So they're bigger than Walmart, Target, Macy's, Kroger, IKEA, Gap, Tiffany, Coach, Nordstrom, all together.
mm,
Mhm. And this book was written in 2017, so the numbers may have changed, be off a little bit now, but yeah, that's quite a statement, to be larger than all of these companies and corporations put together.
Sheesh.
Hmm. Yeah,
Wow.
Gail, that's absolutely nuts.
That's insane.
Hmm.
That's bonkers. That's bonkers.
Yeah.
And
So
wow, what an education. I learned something right there.
yeah, I mean that's what we're here for. Daily education. We ain't here to play. You know what I'm saying?
It stems back to awareness. Once
Hmm.
again, the more aware you are of things and the more that you understand concretely what they are. I tell people this all the time in conversations. Don't tell me something unless you've done the research and thoroughly have done the research, because it's just your opinion at that point.
Oh yeah, for
You know,
sure.
when we're dealing with fact, we need to be factual. You know, you better
Hmm.
have your story down pat. I said it in a song a long time ago. Said, speaking to me, you better have your story down pat. Don't ever think
Hmm.
you're getting over. I'm smarter than that. So, you know, and I wasn't saying it to be a smart ass or anything like that. I was just saying it because I'm trying to let you know the person that you got sitting in front of you, you cannot just tell me anything, you know,
Hmm.
because I will definitely go do the research and I will find out if what you were saying is actually accurate or not. And it's not that I'm going to call you on it, but I need to know for myself if what I'm being told is actually what it is.
Hmm. Yep. And I'm looking at a statement that Gail said. One person having that much power. I mean, our government really tries to regulate. They'll when it gets ridiculous, they're like, hey, like take take TikTok for example. They're not even an American institution,
No.
but suddenly everybody is going to search things through TikTok. You know what I mean? But what TikTok presents for, I'm going to say my community, it doesn't uh it doesn't represent a good thing. You know, it in my opinion, it has us like a lot of Stephen Fetchers. You know,
Mm,
dance, you know, without a message. You know what I
yes.
mean? So
Yes.
you can go to TikTok and dance your way to 1 million followers, but where are you going to lead them to?
Mm, wow. Whew.
Music, music traditionally has had a message, you
Oh,
know,
yes.
and
Clear
we
cut.
and
Whether
we
it's
even
a minimal message or if
hmm
it's an elaborate one, you better
yes,
believe that there's a message in all of it.
hmm
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I know this for a fact. The invoking of emotion comes from music. You know, people will act
hmm
based off of what they've heard in a song.
exactly, you know,
They'll
and
act
people.
for the good, act for the bad, act for, you know, the better, or an act for the
Mm-hmm.
worse.
Mm-hmm. And what I'm seeing in a lot of these dances is borderline from twerk. It's borderline twerk, you know, that kids can get away with, you know, because they're not all the way twerking, but it's kind of twerking. You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah, influence is real.
Yeah. But even
And
the
the history of that, you
mhm,
know, are you aware of that?
the twerk dance,
Yeah.
give it to us. Give it to us.
Well, I know that it stemmed from a traditionally African, ritual dance.
Exactly.
And so, you know, the more that you know, like I said, once again, and you can fact check that, people. Anybody
Hmm.
watching, go look it up. Go look it up. Twerking didn't start in the club; it started over in the motherland,
Hmm.
and you can
With
go
the tribal beat to
with
it.
the tribal beat to it, which is the
Hmm.
reason why we move. The movement is from the rhythm. Rhythm will make you move, no matter who you
Hmm.
are. I don't care if you're on beat, off beat. When you hear a rhythm, it automatically makes you want to either nod your head, move, dance, whatever it is that you're doing.
Hmm.
Yeah,
That's exactly where it derives from. You know
absolutely.
that drum, that tribal
Yes.
drum. But
Tribal drum.
it was a celebration, and it also was. Um, think about the neighborhoods that we live in and the music that is traveling up and down the street. Some of these guys, we can hear them blocks away, you
Mm.
know, and you can hear that doom, 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 doom. And as it gets closer, then you hear the words. That's the same way it traveled in within tribal Africa. You know,
Sure.
you hear those tunes, and it's not in your community. It's bouncing off the airwaves, and suddenly, from another community, you got a message that comes with some head nod.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely, and if anything, it's going to stop and make you turn your head at the very least. So that could even be considered a rhythmical thing. I mean, that's life. Life moves by rhythm.
It does.
Yes.
So, yeah, we'll move into the next of the four horsemen. We just talked about Amazon and its captivating situation. Now we're going to get into Apple.
Mm.
Now, Apple has a sort of cult following, and uh, being that they're the most profitable. I want to get it right. The most profitable business of all time.
Oh my. Mm.
And the cult following, there's a product that it's basically it's a low cost product at a premium price.
Wow.
Now, I'm an Apple. We just got done talking about Macs and Apples, did we?
Yes, we did.
Now, personal preference. Some people are like, I like the synchronization that comes with Apple for all of my, from the tablet to my phone to
It's
my
almost
desk.
instant.
Yeah, it's definitely in sync, and a lot of things with Apple, you know, uh, I don't know, the Android nation that, hey, I could just jump on here and get this and upload it real quick without having to know my Apple ID and this, that, and the other. It's um, to me, I like the uniformness of Apple and Mac. And it's not always a situation where, because before Apple came, I was a BlackBerry person. My CrackBerry, bro. I
Gotta
thought
have
that
it.
I thought that was it. Like,
That was it.
nothing going after that. But and at the
Lo and
end of this,
behold, here comes the sidekick and all these other great things that pave the way for what we actually have in our hands at this point in time.
for sure, and even uh
Oh yeah, yeah. It was one of the best phones ever, Gail. That's for sure. That's for
hmm
sure, Gail.
yeah, when
Definitely was one of the best phones ever.
yeah, that's that thread that kept you, in line for, us writers, journalists, creatives. Like, yeah, it was a go to. I wish we could go back to it.
Okay.
hmm
Okay.
But
Really.
yeah, it's a premium price put on a product that is, compared to what they compared it to was you taking a Toyota and putting a Ferrari price on it.
Sheesh.
That's that's what they compared the markup to Apple.
Oh my. Oh my.
You
I
know,
mean, in certain ways, that's ingenious
hmm
because
yeah,
if your cost, your overhead cost, is not outweighing the income and the profit, I mean, what's going to happen?
hmm and that's why we're explaining it to people in these type of terms, because as a business person, you actually want to have an idea of what the bosses, how they move, you know. So you want to move accordingly. Who knows if you're the next Apple with your invention or whatever you put together as a business frame of idea.
Right.
So that's why we're here to
Because
explain.
you easily could be.
There's no reason why we shouldn't be. If
Exactly.
we can put a product together, and let's say I saw something in I do e-commerce, shout out to the ricoverdict.com.co. If I have my virtual assistant or bot, We'll type that in. We'll type that
We need to get you a Rosie.
in. Sophia.
Sophia,
So,
Rosie. Hey,
Sophia and Rosie. Get them
yeah,
all
yeah,
together.
they got yeah. Only difference between Sophia and Rosie, I think, was the fact that Rosie didn't look like a human. Sophia
Yeah.
does, and Rosie actually moved around on wheels.
Yeah. Rosie has some hips too.
Yeah, she did. Yes, she did. Yes, she did. You know, it almost kind of reminds me of, like a old school,
Florence from the Jeffersons.
or Aunt Jemima, or
Yeah.
like yeah, that's how Rosie kind of looked.
It was
She had that kind of
1962.
personality as well.
Yeah, she definitely did. She had some slick words for you, Rosie, as did Florence. Gail, if you could type that in the comments for us, Gail, the ricoverdict.com.co, where our book and merchandise is located. And if you could put custombeking.com in there as well, we would appreciate you. We
Yep,
appreciate you,
absolutely.
Gail.
Absolutely. Yes, yes. Make sure you guys are hitting up the links and staying tapped in and get to it and stick to it.
All the way. So
All the
yeah.
way. That was an interesting one. What else do you got for me, man?
Well, yeah, so you got a Toyota, and you're paying Ferrari prices for it, right?
Yeah.
So the cash on hand, which we're looking at some GDP numbers, we're getting to it and sticking to it. It's the gross uh, number of Denmark,
Mm.
the numbers that they're doing. So it's two times the net profit of Amazon. This is Apple's numbers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Whew.
it so one thing
That's
that
astronomical if you really put that in perspective. Like you
it's
gotta really start.
outrageous.
Yeah, you gotta really put that in perspective, people. What he just said right there. That's
Hmm.
astronomical.
Yeah,
Unbelievable.
and he actually ended that chapter when he said that. He said it's never been easier to become a millionaire at this time right now,
Mm.
but it's never been harder to become a billionaire at the
Mm.
same time. So those are a couple of things just to keep in mind that opportunity is out there, but
Absolutely.
you really have to get to it and stick to
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
it.
Boy, that theme keeps dancing around.
Uh, hey, we might have to sit down and get a T-shirt together. You know what I'm
Yeah, I'm
saying?
gonna have to hit up my man Chop and tell him
Yeah,
let's spearhead it, man.
yeah. Chop, come on, Chop. Let's chop it up.
Yes,
You know what I mean?
indeed.
Even, even if Chop got
We
all
were
the
thinking the
money,
same thing there. Look at that.
huh?
Look at that. We were thinking the same thing. We put up the link to the LFX Media website.
Hmm.
Yes, indeed. But no, no, yeah, Chop definitely was on to something with that phrase, and it
Hmm.
stuck with me. It just resonated, man. And I thought it was so timely, and I
Hmm.
was like, man, we got this
Hmm.
is this is the mentality that we gotta have right here. You
Hmm.
know what I mean? We got to get up out of the shadows of our own minds.
For sure. I mean,
Start to get active. Start and get active.
for sure. And when you talk about these four horsemen, Zuckerberg is the catalyst of one of these horsemen. He actually had to get on the stand, and they had an issue where during Trump's campaign that
Mm,
some information was sold to Russia, and they were right in the middle of it.
Russia, Russia, Russia.
Facebook. He actually got on the stand and said, I don't know what you guys are talking about. I didn't sell anybody's information to Russia." And they let him walk off on that.
Wow, and that was interesting. within itself.
Very interesting.
If you
And
guys want to dig down that rabbit hole, feel free to go back and look up that case and
check it out.
check it out. Check it out. Check
Mhm.
it out. Now, will I do believe that media does limit us in certain ways where we don't get a chance to see the full scope of what is really really going on. It does help you in a lot
Mhm.
of ways to make sure that you know at least what you are able to see.
Yeah, you don't want to stumble upon, and create a situation that someone already has made that mistake, and you do your due diligence, dive in a rabbit hole and figure it out. That's what we do, you know. So, getting back to Facebook, so we have 7.5 billion people in the world.
Hmm.
Now, out of those, 1.2 billion have daily relations, and it's their mate. Some of them, their mate is Facebook. You know, they explained it as relations. So
Wow,
that is a lot of people. You
it's a
know.
lot of people.
Hmm.
It's almost like it's with you almost every single moment of the day.
Yeah. Yep. And the average time, what they're saying is 1 hour a day. You know, and
Hmm.
when you say relations, 1 hour a day, you get into it and sticking to it.
Ah, there, ding, 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 ding. You
It's
guys getting it?
yeah. Do you get it? You're in
Yes.
a relationship with Facebook.
Mm,
Do you
wow.
get it? Is it sticking?
Is it sticking? I hope so. I
Yeah.
hope the people are catching on to this and seeing how it's all intertangled and tied in.
Entanglement.
That's a proper entanglement. There you go.
Proper. So the three most popular apps we have are Facebook, Messenger, and somebody who's paying attention in the comments. What's the third most popular app? We have Facebook, Insta. Oh, I didn't gave the answer. It's the it's Facebook, Instagram, and Messenger.
You
Those are
slipped up the interaction, my brother.
hey. I actually in the questions that I ask, I don't know if it's been asked yet because I schedule them for the day. That's another pointer I give you guys. But hey, 1 to 300. I think there's a number. I'm doing a giveaway, and we'll get the answer today, tomorrow. Whoever picks the right number, we're going to give a giveaway. So
Sounds
stay
great.
stay tuned for that.
Stay
But
tuned.
yeah, those most popular apps. We've
Wow.
got Messenger. So a lot of guys and girls. They're in Messenger. Facebook actually has a dating
App. Yes, they do.
community.
They have a dating section. Yes, they do.
Yes, they have a dating community as well. So
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
yeah,
Oh yeah. Not just groups. They also have a dating site of their own.
whole
Meta
app,
itself.
a whole
Meta
app. Yeah.
itself is in control of all of the things that we just mentioned, and that's
Yes,
another thing to keep in mind, people,
yes.
is
This is
that
not. It's not called Facebook anymore.
no, this is Meta. This is this whole entire movement. The WhatsApp, Instagram,
Hmm.
Facebook, Messenger are all products of the company Meta. And
Yes.
so make sure you guys are checking in. And then, of course, they also have the metaverse, which
Hmm.
is a whole nother rabbit hole that we would have to dig down. But
Yeah. That
it's all tied into one conglomerate. They're a conglomerate now. You
it
know?
almost sounds like Meta World Peace.
Oh, yeah. Or the meta secret.
Let's go. Let's
Wow.
go.
Here it is.
Yeah.
Bingo, bango.
Yeah. So, like we said, the people, uh, to break it down even further, for 1 out of 5 minutes is spent on the phone on Facebook. Just to break it down even to more details,
Wow.
1 out of 5 minutes of
Mm.
of the whole day.
It's really interesting how we're using this as a primary form of
Yes.
communication. And
Every
yeah, yeah, go ahead, Podge. I'm listening.
every every 6 minutes, think about it. Every 6 minutes, you're checking the notifications on Facebook. Every 6 minutes of your awoken life right now.
Mm, mm.
And then
One
stay
thing to think about really, really strongly, people.
right and stay tuned because these four horsemen we're talking about, towards the end of this book, there's some challengers.
Mm.
We might not even get to it in this particular pod. It might be continued.
Yeah, we'll have to revisit.
We revisit and go to a part two of it. But definitely, we want to keep you hanging on, and we want you to get to it as we
Yes.
stick to it. Mhm.
Absolutely, that part of the game.
Okay,
Yes.
so we're gonna go to the next number three horseman.
Okay.
His name is Google.
Mm.
Hmm.
Yes, indeed.
Are you guys familiar with Google?
Oh, I know everybody is. I
Yep,
know everybody's familiar with Google,
yep. And I believe,
and you should be.
yep. Is it Alphabet? Is that the proper name of them on the stock market?
I'm not quite sure.
I think it's
I'm
called
sure you may be more
Alphabet.
knowledgeable about that than I am.
Yep. While I'm talking, pull that up real quick for us,
Yes,
Dad. I
you
think it's
got
called Alphabet, but Google, they're saying it's the modern man's God.
it. Mm.
That's the title. That's the title that they're giving Google. The modern man's God. That's deep,
Mm.
guys. That is
Mm.
deep. Yeah. So anything from little trivial questions to profound questions, they're asked on Google, and the answers are coming in 0.00005 seconds. Which,
Mm.
if you count your zeros, that's a trillionth of a second. How fast these Google answers are coming at you. You
Yeah,
know.
I'm seeing that it is. Let me see here. Their stock name is GOOGL or GOOG.
Hmm. The
Yeah.
the company that's owned, I think, is Alphabet or Alpha
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. Class A is GOOGL. Class
Hmm.
C is GOOG.
Okay. All
And
right.
there we go. That's our answer for that.
Mm-hmm. So, um,
Their name is GOOG. Um, what is that? GOOG, US NASDAQ
mm-hmm,
GS.
mm-hmm, yeah, they're the question answerer. When it comes to trust and credibility, who do you trust more than Google
Oh man,
at this point? Now we got some challengers coming,
sure.
and we got some. We tried out AI and
Oh, you
asked
guys missed
AI a
that
couple.
last week. You better tap in and go back to
Yeah.
that podcast and take a look at it on the platform.
But there's definitely some challengers coming.
Yes, there are. Yes, there are. And in certain retrospects, they're already here. If you
Hmm.
guys are paying attention to what's really going on, it's already being put in place and it's going under a lot of people's nose because their focus and their attention is in certain realms and there's distractions that have been
Hmm.
put in place.
Right.
Okay, I don't want to stir up too much by saying that, but distractions are a part of the reason why you may not be aware of what's
Hmm.
actually going on under the surface. Like we keep going under the surface for you guys, so you
Right.
guys can really see exactly what this means, what that means, because clarity is important.
Hmm.
Clarity is important, and being clear about things is how we really, really, really need to be. We need to be clear.
For sure.
Clarity is the only answer that we really should be looking for.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Well, Pod's just kicked out on me for a brief moment, so I'm going to continue on by saying this. Um, when you have these dynamics in place, and like the Four Horsemen, how aware should you possibly be? How aware should you possibly be? Like, do you feel like it's a high priority? Do you feel like it's a low priority? Well, I think it's really important for us to, start to, raise the level of priority up some. It's not popular to talk about these subjects. It's not, the glamour. It's not the glitz, but it is reality. And what we need to stick to is reality in the sense of what it is that we have right now. We have a realistic time going on in our lives, and it benefits you to dig into these subjects that may not be popular in your environment, but it's popular to know unpopular things. It's
Mm-hmm.
popular to know unpopular things. And so that's why I was telling them, Podge, that, these subjects may not be the popular subjects of the day, but
Mm-hmm.
nonetheless, they're very important. They may even be more so important than what you guys are reading about, the 6ix9ine getting beat up and all these sensational, what we call
Yeah.
sensational news. All of this sensational news, at some point in time in your life, it needs to take a back seat, and you need
Mm-hmm.
to bring some of these subjects to the forefront.
Yeah. Backseat to the toxic stuff. I mean,
Yes.
we may talk about 6ix9ine, but if we ever talk about 6ix9ine, we're probably talking about um, the business of music. We're not talking
Yeah,
about.
that would be on the subject of the business of music, because I
Mhm.
think people in the business of music would be interested and intrigued in that. And
Yeah,
not just that,
how much did they give him at
right?
that label? What did they give him, like 10 million, something like that?
Yeah, some type of an advance like that. And what people don't realize about advances is that that money has to be recouped somehow, some way.
Oh yeah. So,
Oh, so best believe that, just like how Nori said on the one podcast, that these are very attractive loans with high interest rates.
oh wow.
So the interest rate, I can only but imagine what a $10 million
Hmm.
advance interest rate is.
Yeah, and I saw the things that he was going out and buying, and he bought a lot of vehicles. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I hate that we got on 6ix9ine suddenly, but I mean, let's be real about it.
Yeah.
Um, if I was to go out and buy for the 10 million they gave me, if I go spend 5 million on exotic cars, I'm putting them on Turo. They're out for rent. You know what I mean? In which they rent for a lot more money because, oh, I'm riding around in 6ix9ine car. You know what I mean? You can charge a person what your payment for the month for them to ride around for one day.
And the car will be paid off in less than a year.
Simply, and you'll get that that money back that those people loaned you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You'll recoup.
Yeah.
You'll recoup for them. And if you're smart enough to see those things, it is. But yeah, you could get back into the Four Horsemen, because we still
Hmm.
got one more subject that we're going to try to tackle. And I
Oh,
noticed
for sure, for
we're
sure.
almost we're almost at the hour of power, brother.
Yeah, we might. If you got time, I got time, bro.
Yeah, I got a little bit of extra time.
Okay.
I got some pressing things coming down. Of course, the juggernaut is always
Always,
dancing and moving,
always on the move.
weaving through the cracks. Yes, of course. So, but yes, I definitely think that it's important that we understand these four horsemen. So,
Okay,
yeah.
absolutely. So, let me give you a economic breakdown. So, um, the value. This is an economic breakdown. 231,000 per employee. You know, and
Hmm,
that sounds impressive, right?
sounds like it.
So Facebook Enterprise is worth 20.5 million per employer.
My goodness.
That's 100 times the value of regular organizational, like General Motors. That's what we were talking about. General Motors was 231,000.
Yeah.
GM economic value per. Now that's not saying each person that works for GM actually earns 231,000. We're just saying the value that they put out in society.
Mm-hmm.
So the value per Facebook worker is $20.5 million per
Jesus.
employee,
Sheesh.
which is 100 times what GM was putting out almost a century ahead.
Clearly.
hmm
Wow.
So,
Wow.
yeah, and if you want
Interesting
to look,
statistic.
and if you want to look at it as a city, it's the whole Lower East Side of Manhattan.
Hmm.
All the money that they make, that's what we're looking at.
If you've been to New York and you've seen the Lower East Side of Manhattan,
It's all money.
that's all that's going on there.
It's all
You
money.
probably don't even need to be in that district if your mind isn't on money.
That facts, big facts, right? So, like I said, this book, the four, if you can get your hands on it. Matter of fact, if you're not so much as a reader, get an Audible. It's like 14.99. I don't have a link that I could give you, affiliate link, but I am an Audible affiliate. I don't have it on hand right now because we got so much going on that we're
Yeah.
we're, we're going to get Rosie and Sophie and all of them to get our
Yes.
our affiliate links together,
Right.
and
Multitaskers. We gotta get our multitaskers.
yeah, get our multitaskers together so we can get to it and stick to it.
That's right.
But these numbers from the book, the four, this is it was written in 2017, so I'm sure some things have changed. um, I think Jeff Bezos from Amazon was in the number three spot, and he moved up, from 2017 to 2021 to the number one spot, and there's some other things going on, but basically, we're talking about a system from, you know, 2017, and it's on and on, it's ongoing. But we keep mentioning GDP, which is actually gross domestic product, and what's the formula you ask for gross domestic product? It's um, private consumption plus gross private investment plus government spending plus exports and imports by these are international standards. So
Mm.
these numbers are encasing all of that, the numbers that Amazon's doing, that Google's doing, that Facebook is doing. And historically, when we're thinking of IT and tech, we're thinking of IBM and HP. They're kind of blowing in the wind now. You can still get an HP computer. IBM still makes a difference, but they are nowhere near the GDP that these four horsemen are producing.
Hmm.
So Facebook, and these are conglomerate moves. If you familiar with the game Monopoly, that's what these guys are doing. They have formed a monopoly, and they are each other's arch nemesis. So in this battle, Facebook, they spend $20 billion for WhatsApp. So, if you're doing e-commerce, if you're doing any type of movements online, you know about WhatsApp, you know, and for them to
And
spend
the international community uses it religiously, so go figure.
religiously. So Facebook spent $20 billion to have them as part of their arsenal to battle the other three horsemen. And it's they say dog eat dog world. This is what it is. You know what I mean?
It is a
One.
dog eat dog world.
hmm the only competition the four have is each other. So they're all direct competitors with each other.
Wow.
So Apple computers, they compete with Amazon in music, film. Amazon is actually Google's largest customer, but is also competing in the search engine race. So peep this out, Pat.
Mm-hmm.
55% of searches start on Amazon.
I know I've caught myself doing it.
Yeah, but listen, we
That's but that number is just wow.
yeah, because Google is the number one search engine. We already
Yes,
established
yes,
that.
yes. We would know that well.
But 55% of the searches start on Amazon.
Mm.
So the battle continues. You have Siri, which is an Apple product. We have Alexa, which is an Amazon product. And that rumble, that goes all the way up to cloud storage, which moves sideways, up and down, clouds cloud storage. We'll get into that in another pod, but
Sure,
you know, we're breaking it down, and we're getting to it and
surely
sticking
are.
to
Peeling the layers back, if you
it.
will.
Hmm.
Peeling the
So
layers back.
yeah, so
Wow. Well said, brother. Well said. And that was some man. That was a very, very robust, if you will,
hmm
breakdown.
it's like Ali and Frazier. That's what this whole battle of the tech age. It's Ali Frazier.
Right.
And it's an epic race that when you say operating systems, it's how our lives are operated. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
This is
Mhm.
exactly how our lives and the value. It's $1 trillion plus that's out there to be got. So if you want to count from millions to billions to trillions, what's after trillions? Zillions.
Gazillions.
Yeah. So we're approaching, $1 trillion market where all four of these horsemen are battling for, and definitely stay tuned for, the competitors that I was talking about that we won't get to in this pod. But the first half of the book, it examines each horseman and deconstructs a strategy and lessons for business leaders to take heed to and figure out, like, okay, this is how they formulated what they had, and these are the pitfalls, and these are some of the things that I can look forward to. Like Paz said, you can be the next billionaire. You absolutely can.
Sure.
The second part of the book, it identifies the mythology and origins of the actual competition. The advantage for one, the disadvantage for the other, and then you explore a whole new model. And you know those challengers. I'll go ahead and say those challengers. We have Alibaba, and Netflix is one of the other challengers. So we'll see what they talking about.
Continue to monitor the situation.
Hmm. So
Yes.
so
Yes.
there we have it.
And we have it. Pretty good, man. I like that a lot, and I hope that our watchers and our people that are tuning in are getting some good food out of this, and I believe that you are. Just stay, subscribing to us on YouTube. LFX Media. Go ahead and like, subscribe, and hit that bell, the notification bell. And yes, visit the website lfxmedia.live. We are on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and you guys can stay tapped in and get the food that you need anytime you choose. Just go on your smart TV, download the channel, and you are in.
In there like swimwear.
Yes, I think briefly I'm gonna get to our other subject that we had in this podcast.
Hmm.
And this is where we're gonna, we're gonna dig up another subject that's not too comfortable for some folks, but we need to
Okay.
talk about the comfortable and we need to talk about the uncomfortable, most importantly. And
Yes.
there's something I came across, and it was social media triggers.
Mm.
social media triggers. You know what I'm saying? But I also, also thought that we would really dig into, just emotional triggers themselves.
Mm.
I mean, emotional triggers are a big part of this social media trigger subject that I brought to us. Um, I went to a website called seasonsinmalibu.com and I found social media and the triggers, and it's basically based off of mental health. Okay. And it says like this: social media apps and websites are mostly meant to be a fun diversion or just a way to communicate with friends and family. For people suffering from mental health issues, however, social media can be full of triggers that make it difficult to fully enjoy the potential for connection in these platforms. And if you guys are looking at the timeline in your feed, you've run across some of this when people are actually venting and coming off and probably disclosing a lot more than we probably need to be reading. But the trigger for that really instantly, when I think about it, is the phrase "What's on your mind?"
Mm.
What's on your mind? If you notice that, have you guys ever just looked at Facebook and when you're ready to post something, it says something right there subliminally in the box. It says,
Mhm.
"What's on your mind?"
Yeah.
And we comply. We comply so easily that even myself, I had to, do a little self check on my own self because I was
Mhm.
like, wow, that's too easy. What's on your mind? Here's what's on my mind. And everything isn't for everybody.
Mm.
And so basically, it can deal with certain dangers. You know, I think that when we're coming to social media and seeing all the negative overtones that we're seeing in this day and age, it comes across as a danger, if you will. And as I go on to read, there's another excerpt from the article. It says, the dangers of social media can be especially problematic for people with existing issues with depression, as it can create feelings of loneliness or the belief that they are different than their peers.
Mhm.
Any mental health or behavioral problem can be exacerbated by social media if the user is not careful about minimizing, and this goes back to what Paji said, minimizing their use. You know, uh, real briefly here, experiencing triggers on social media often happens for a number of different reasons, depending on the individual and their personal issues. People with anxiety may be triggered when they see a photo of their friends hanging out and wonder why they weren't invited, or worry that their friendships are fake. Seeing photos of friends can sometimes trigger those with trust issues if their friend is presenting an image that seems unfamiliar or different than they expected. Hmm. Now, that's something that we probably see a lot. You see people going out, enjoying, taking photos, and you're like, wow, I thought I was cooler than that. Why wasn't I invited? Uh,
Mhm.
a common problem, and this is the big thing that I wanted to get at right here, Podge. A
Mhm.
common problem with social interactions is the tendency for people to compare themselves to others. Social media is a place where people tend to tailor the image of themselves to only present positive things. When other people present their stories or images of success, achievement, beauty, love, or happiness, it can trigger feelings of inferiority, which is something that I really, really think is a really important thing for us to dive into because these triggers happen and they happen often.
Mhm.
They happen so often that I don't even think the common public realizes what they're saying before they actually go about saying it. I think the
Mhm.
habit's so conditioned into people that they are saying things without thinking about what it is that they're saying. They are doing things on social media without thinking about what it is that they're actually doing. You
Mhm.
know? And I think that it's really, really important for us to recognize that there's a thin line. There's a thin line. There's an album from Ice-T from back in the day, and I'm gonna bring it up because the cover of the album was significant, but the title of the album itself probably speaks volumes on this subject. It says freedom of speech, but watch what you say. And the album was called The Iceberg. But it
Mm-hmm.
said clearly on the cover, freedom of speech, but watch what you say. And I think that that actually should, you know, echo today. You know what I mean? Because we do have freedom of speech to a certain degree. If the algorithm catches you saying something bad, then you go to timeout. But for the most part, you are allowed to say what you want. You're allowed to express yourself how you feel. Even though there may be consequences, they still allow you to do it in the initial going. So I think it's important for us to take a step back sometime and really, really evaluate what it is that we're doing on social media and what it is that we're looking at, because things that we're looking at, believe it or not, they shape exactly what our content ends up being as well, because we end up talking about what we see. We talk about things that are coming across our timelines. So if the algorithm is noticing that you're watching, you know, a lot of negativity, guess what? Your whole entire social media experience is going to be filled with a lot of negative overtones. And then it's going to bleed into your personal post because now you feel the negative stigma over your life and you're going to project that right onto the wall. And
Wow.
everybody can sit there and they can see it. And so, there's things that you can do though. You know, there's certain things that you can do, and one of them is um, you can edit your news feed. You can edit your news feed. You can unfollow people who are triggering you without unfriending them. They got different options. You can remain friends with somebody, but you can unfollow them if what they're presenting in front of you is something that you're like, yeah, that's too much. You're doing too much. I do it a lot. I do it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
There's some of you that are my friends that I'm unfollowing. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I'm gonna be transparent with you today because
Mm-hmm.
there's certain things that you haven't figured out about social media yet and how those triggers are forcing you to come out with triggers. And and until you get that, I think it would benefit me not to really be entertained by that kind of conversation. And so
Mm-hmm.
that's one of the things you can do, though. You can unfollow. You don't have to unfriend people necessarily. You can remain friends, but if their content is triggering you, you can unfollow them. You can also, follow more positive or inspirational accounts. You can minimize the number of people that you follow. You could take a break from certain sites and delete certain apps. Like if that app is it's triggering you to like, oh man, every time I turn on here, it's making me react. Yeah, once you catch yourself like that, just delete that app for a while. Delete that app until you're back to a center of focus, and if you feel like going back, great. If you want to leave it alone permanently, that's fine. You could take the good old pen and pad, and you could just start focusing on your own accomplishments. You could write them down. That's something that you could do, to cope with your triggers. Um, it's the comparison thing too, Podge. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? It's like, you want to compare yourself to others and you want to say, all right, this, that, and the third. But, avoiding that urge can help you, avoiding the urge. And it takes discipline, y'all. Because once you're running down the road so far, it's like, you got habits, you got things that you learn, and then there's also a thing called unlearn. So you have to unlearn certain things. You know what I mean? And really, really get back to a center of, your get back to your chi, if you will. You know what I mean? So, you just don't compare yourself so much. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Like kind of take a step back from that.
Mm-hmm.
And also being mindful, like, that other people, they're triggered too. Remind yourself of that. You know what I mean? Like as you're triggered, so are others. And that's another way that you can cope. You can cope with these things. It's not like you got to stay in the dark with it all the time. You don't got to stay on the negative side of things all the time. If especially if it's making you feel like your negative side is starting to supersede what it is that you got positive to put out here in the world. You know what I mean? If it's unavoidable, you know, if you feel like it's being unavoidable and it's getting to the point where it's like that, just delete the account for a while. You know, delete your account. Delete your account because your mental health is more important. You know, like a social media profile is always going to be there, but your mental health is something that you need. So, be mindful of that. Be mindful of that. You can easily close these accounts. I've had to close my account several times. You know what I mean? In order to recenter myself. And it was to prevent me from feeling some kind of way. It was prevent me from these things that cause, the depression, that cause the anxiety, that cause those specific things. You know, like certain words, and it's the words, Podge. There's certain words that come across the timeline that
Mm-hmm.
are what we call triggers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, and they really are extensive. I went and dug up some words that that kind of like you know will prompt you. They'll
Mm-hmm.
prompt you. They'll prompt you to really kind of like react, if you will, because we talk about reaction. And so and it's common words. It's common words.
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole bunch of different words that kind of like they'll trigger you to think something, to feel something. You know what I'm saying? Like like never again. Kind of like final chance.
He tried it.
Yes, yep. Those phrases like that. Um, such and such has been exposed. That's
Mm-hmm.
one. Exposed. We exposed him. And this, that, and the word. These are trigger words, believe it or not. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Uh, undercover. Undercover. You know what I mean? Like things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
Classified information. you
Public
know,
service announcement.
exactly. You know what I'm saying? Like, or this is an exclusive report.
Mm-hmm.
Things of that nature. These things trigger us to really tap into certain things and trigger us to tap in.
And
You
it
know,
can go either way. You can say, I don't know who needs to hear this. And it could be something positive. Or you could say something that's a direct missile aimed at somebody. It could be a sub, it could be a lot of things, but you make it what you make it. And I know myself, I unsubscribe to a lot of people, especially the beginning of football season.
hmm
A lot of people that I have to unfollow because we haven't had constructive conversation in the
yes,
off season, and suddenly you have a lot to say, and it's all football related. And I'm like, if that's what floats your boat, that's fine. But I have a lot more things to do than sit up and watch. Almost a four-hour football game. I'll catch
right.
ESPN in the morning.
I
You
might
know.
watch football, but as the NFL states, not for long. That's my NFL. I watch it, but not for long. Because
Mm-hmm.
there's so many other things that we have on the table out here in the world that we really need to be focusing on.
Yeah.
But my last point on social triggers, brother, is the situations. You know what I mean? The situations that can trigger intense emotions. Like because that's kind of like where my focus was with it. Because I noticed that social media does trigger a lot of intense emotions with people. It does. It really does. But here's some situations that I pulled up that
Mm-hmm.
actually trigger intense emotions.
Okay.
Um, rejection,
Mm.
betrayal, unjust treatment, challenged beliefs,
Mm-hmm.
helplessness, or loss of control, being excluded, being ignored, like we just said. Disapproval of criticism.
Mhm.
disapproval or criticism. Like either or. You have
Mhm.
disapproval on this side, you have critics on this side. And one of my old statements is when we're in business, we learn this principle: critics don't pay you, customers do. And
Mm.
so, that's one thing to keep in mind. Feeling unwanted, feeling unneeded, feeling smothered or too needed,
Mhm.
insecurity, and loss of independence. These are
Mhm.
these are all common situations that can trigger some intense emotions out of people. And it's good to identify those, because if you identify them, then you know how to address them, you know, because you can address them. You know what I'm saying? One of the things you can do is just take a step back.
Mhm.
Take a step back, and really start to assess. Like I said, close that account for a little while. Do a reassessment. You know what I mean? Like, get back to your center and get back to what it is that that's good about you. You trace the roots of these triggers. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
you can go back and, while you're taking your break, trace the roots. Get curious, ask questions. You
The
know,
roots.
yeah, yeah. Ask yourself these questions. If in all curiosity, do any of your patterns stand out? If they
That
stand out, then maybe they need addressed. You know what I mean? And so I just wanted to bring that subject to the podcast. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's things that we always talk about accountability and responsibility, man. You know what I mean? So it's like these are parts of us being accountable, being responsible, accountable, you know, and we have to own up to some of those things. You know what I'm saying? Do positive stuff. Own
Mhm.
your own your feelings. Own your
Mhm.
feelings. Give yourself some space.
Right.
Communicate. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Things of those nature. Work on mindfulness. Work on the mindfulness of things. You can keep your journal. You can do all kind of different types of things to help you
Mhm.
through these processes.
Mhm.
I mean, because our mental health is very important,
Yeah.
and our mental health being very important, I think it's really, really important to recognize and accept the fact that this type of realm, these social media platforms and social platforms altogether, they can trigger you into being the person that you were hoping that you wouldn't be.
Mhm.
And so, take some time out, y'all. Take some time out and really, really, really dig down deep within yourself.
That is
Find
true.
balance.
That is true. Just to add to what you were saying, when you mentioned the word um, exclusion, when you mentioned the word, I would say similes. We always want to run a competition. We got guys that, hey, look at me in my shoes. That's the whole message. I
It
got
is a
some,
look at me world, is it not?
I got a new pair of shoes, but that inclusion is actually, they say inclusion is a hell of a drug.
It is.
It's you actually get to be included in something. It gives you an adrenaline rush that
Yeah.
someone was kind enough to include you in something that, when they say we and they tag you, that adrenaline rush that you get can really be, considered a drug, and you get that rush from someone including you in something. And watch who you get included with. You know what I mean? So
Seriously.
let's get to unfollowing. Let's get to and I excuse me, in my journey, as I'm looking through my professional page on Facebook and looking through my author page, there's a lot of professionals on there. So I saw something, I think it was early this morning, and they were talking about someone's activities, and all of the people were saying, "Oh, I saw it too." And I have no idea what they were talking about because there's nothing toxic in my timeline. You know what I mean? It's just positivity. And I'm not saying that a person won't slide on there and say some slick, crazy stuff, but for the
Some
most
bull
part, for the most part, when I keep strolling, as we say, keep strolling. You know, if you like something, Facebook thinks that's what you want to see. If you comment on something, that's what Facebook thinks you want to comment on. So
Yes.
if you want to try to control that without going in and changing the parameters or whatever, just be conscious, be woke to the fact that this particular topic isn't something that I want to keep seeing. So if I comment on it and the allure to actually say something is there, we naturally want to correct people. We naturally want to be included in stuff. And if you don't want to be included in it, don't comment on
That's it. That's it. Sound piece of advice, my brother. I
it.
appreciate that one.
Indeed, man. It's the hour of power has bubbled over.
Yes, it has.
We gave y'all a lot of power. I think it was,
Absolutely.
yeah,
I
and
think so.
free game for the moment.
For the moment.
Yeah,
Just like Sophia said, the checkbooks will be expected as
yeah.
we go down the road.
Yeah, see me on the side, whatever pay scale we decide, it'll be there for you, you know. Pay
Absolutely.
PayPal, you know.
Yep.
Um,
Venmo, PayPal,
yes.
Zeal.
Zettle,
Yeah.
Cash App,
Yes, indeed.
send me a Bitcoin or
There you
two.
go.
Yeah. And Bitcoin. I wish Antho was here. I think he was actually in the stew.
Yeah, for a brief moment.
I heard somebody
For a
pop
brief
in
moment,
it.
he was there, and then he disappeared.
Okay. Well, shout out to our other co-hosts,
Yes, indeed.
Antho the Great.
And those are
Um,
great.
he's approaching. I won't announce. I'll let him be the one
Yeah,
that
yeah, that's
announces
fine.
what's going on with him. But
Stay
we,
tuned.
we steady streams of income. That's what we always on. Our conversation, we speak daily, and we joke, we laugh, we talk family stuff, but the common denominator is streams of income.
Yeah, we're finding ways to
Mhm.
me pot of gold.
Yeah, yes, sir. So stay tuned to lfxmedia.live. We have the first course that's en route. Go ahead and give them the
Yes,
tweedledee about that.
surely, surely, surely. It is called Studio at Home. It is a intro to building your own studio at home and actually not just building it, but actually beginning to run it in an early stage and form. So you don't want to miss it. It's a four-part course, four videos, real simple. I try to speak in layman terms. It's not the high end video production of the year. It's just
Mhm.
something to get you going and get you started. And it's going to teach you what things to get, how to set them up, and how to get it all started.
And this is something that's already done that you already had on your personal platform that you're
Yes.
bringing over to lfxmedia.live, right?
Absolutely. It'll be exclusively on lfxmedia.live going forward. It will no longer be on my website or will it be on the YouTube channel. It'll actually be on LFX Media itself. So you got to run to LFX Media to go check out Studio
Yeah.
at Home with JPad the Juggernaut.
Yeah. Not only will we have courses, we have live streaming. Final four weekend is coming up. We'll probably be popping up. Somebody stuck their head in here. I think it's Antho the Great.
It is.
Family.
Hey,
That
what's
is
going on, man?
Antho the Great. Pass the
Hey,
torch.
how we
Pass the.
feeling? How we feeling? How we feeling, man? I had to get baby girl to bed, man. And she didn't
Oh
get to
yeah,
bed till
yeah.
about 30 minutes, 40 minutes ago. That's when I first popped in. But I was like,
Oh yeah.
now I got to get positioned to where I can actually speak and not be trying to pit pat. So,
You should have.
I had logged in on our actual website. Y'all can do that, lfxmedia.live. I was watching on there, man, good
Okay.
videos from the live. So, y'all definitely can go tap in like that. If y'all like me and can't get in because you're watching the babies, y'all
Yes.
can
Okay.
go tap in like that. Go tap
LFX
in like
Media.
that, man. Definitely. But yeah, man, we're just soaking up game like everybody else, getting all that temporarily free game, you know.
Ooh, temporarily free. And speaking
Absolutely.
of temporarily free, I mean, did you want to make an announcement about these streams of income?
Oh, hey, it's definitely, got some great stuff brewing. We got an ebook on the way, man. Where we gonna
Okay.
be giving away some me and Paji putting together some delectable delights for all of y'all out there to
Yeah.
kind of digest in your own time and help you kind of see another little way to make some money. That's what we always talking about. Like I heard him speaking earlier about that's pretty much what me and Paji talk about no exaggeration, about 80% of the time. If we talking, we'll give some,
Yeah. Yeah.
we even family time will be intertwined with how we can make money chilling.
How can we make
Hmm.
some
So it's
Yeah.
always about trying to make money, stack streams of revenue. Uh, Actually, gonna be coming home soon to work from home full time
Mm-hmm.
in May. And that's just like
Woo.
I say, even that I just want to share with folks like how that was able to be done,
Yes,
especially even on some
congratulations. Congratulations.
seeing appreciate you, brother. Understanding like it's so much easier to stack streams when you do you think than what you think. So
For sure. I mean, if you want to get into some of that, I know Pat got a busy schedule. I mean, me and
Yeah,
you
yeah,
man,
can bust
new
it
to the
up.
scene, guys, but I know you guys got it from here. I
Mm-hmm.
no
really
doubt.
appreciate
Salute, Pat.
yes, indeed. I appreciate it. And I'm going to catch you guys on the next episode of LFX Media Podcast. And
Yes,
No
sir.
doubt.
yes, indeed. Much love, Anthony. And congratulations once again, brother. And
I
Podge,
appreciate you, brother.
keep on steaming, Stanley steaming. You feel me?
Get to it, stick to
Stick
it.
to it. I'm out, y'all. Peace
Yes,
out.
sir.
Already.
Yeah, just speaking of streams of income, the LFX Media is already monetized. Yeah, I mean we've been
For
in
sure.
existence since 2018, and I don't even know how much money is. I've never taken it out. It's just you know accumulating in
Mm.
in in the name of love.
Yeah.
Love offering. That's all that is. But
Right.
but being that here's the analogy that me and Anthony always use. If one penny can be earned, it's considered a stream of income. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So
point blank.
there's a number like we're LFX Media was established on Anchor FM. So you can go to Anchor and catch the old pods, but we're finding a way to link the new pods with the old pods that are monetized. But either way it goes, we're definitely digging in rabbit holes and finding situations that accommodate us all. And we actually got a phone call. I won't get into specifics, but we got a phone call from a major podcast player that
Hmm.
wants to include uh, his or their company format into what we're doing, and that's an exciting situation as well.
No doubt, no doubt. Can't wait to kind of dive into that some more too, bro. I'm
Yeah.
definitely excited about that. Like we said, always great to talk about expanding and monetizing, baby.
Hmm.
Expansion and making some bread off of whatever we doing. Always doing it for the love. Always loving to share that knowledge with others and how they can do the same thing. It's not
Yes,
about
sir.
one. It's always about expanding the people.
Yeah, and it's nothing. It's not a greed type situation. It's just something.
Mhm.
A man is supposed to have more than one passion. You know. Well,
No doubt.
relationship wise, you want to have one passion is your honey bun. You know what I mean?
Right.
You got one
Yeah,
of
go
those.
to.
Yeah, you got to go to. But as when it comes to, I always throw up Leonardo da Vinci. That's how I compare myself as a creator. You know,
Hmm.
Da Vinci was a painter. He had multiple patents. He came close to being the one who um, created the airplane. He came real close where he just could put it together. But all in all, his claim to fame is the Mona Lisa painting. But if
Right.
you Google him and look at all the other things that he was into, and he did a lot of incompletes, and that's what we have to understand, that sometimes, there's a lesson. You don't call it a loss, you just call it a lesson in life, you know. Certain things that you set out to do. We always talk about achieving and then believing in ourselves and executing, but that execution shouldn't go so far as this is exactly the way I wanted it to look. It's not looking like that, so I'm upset. Like, you have to move on and go into other stages of development and other streams and other passions that you have.
Yeah, I don't know, staying versatile
Mm-hmm.
and being able to adjust and adapt to whatever type of situation that you face. Anybody that's been successful at anything will tell you that it's not no streamline
Mm-hmm.
to true success. You know, it's a general path, but it's definitely not one path. If you hear what I mean. Hard
Mm-hmm.
work, dedication, we get it, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a general thing, but what that's gonna look like in particular for each person is gonna be on an individual basis. And you
Mm-hmm.
just have to be able to adjust and adapt to whatever that looks like for you, because it's gonna be something you're not used to. If you think if you think you're gonna get there from stuff that you've been doing, unless you've
Mm-hmm.
already been achieving greatness with everything you're doing, then okay, well, stay on that path. But if it's something that you're trying to like elevate to a place that a plateau that you've been at that you're trying to get past, you're gonna have to do some uncomfortable stuff. You're gonna have to put in some hours that you're not used to, some time you're not used to, some research you're not used to, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what's gonna separate you, you know.
Yeah, it's never going to be a comfortable ride, you know. When you on the highway and you get real comfortable, sometimes you drift off, sometimes you lose your focus, and you got to roll the window down. You got to adjust your seat sometimes, where this is not the most comfortable spot, but I want to be able to stay woke, and that's.
Right.
Did you catch the beginning when we was talking about the definition of woke?
No, I ain't get to come in till about
Okay.
one something.
Okay. Yeah, that's what we started off about, talking about stay woke. The young lady that went viral with her explanation of what woke meant.
Oh
You know,
yeah, she stumbled all over it.
hey, she rehashed it. If you go on YouTube, she got a whole 10 minutes of bringing it back and saying, well, this is what it actually means.
I think I don't think she had a. I think it kind of caught her off guard. Like I think if
Mhm.
she had time to kind of really digest it and really kind of come up with what they really, because I don't think she had ever been asked that before. Like a
Yeah.
real, like what does it really mean? You could tell it kind of struck her as like, oh man, on the spot. But I think even
Mhm.
in the video when she was trying to pedal it back and kind of put it together on the fly, even
Mhm.
though it was like one of my boys used to say, a busted can of biscuits at that point, trying to put it back together. It's just this is a
You might
little
as
bit
well
all
put
over. Might as well
Yeah,
put that in the oven and bake it.
yeah, go on and bake that thing, cause I get back in the can.
Yeah, right. So
Hmm.
it's
And
that element to it, but I also think it's hey man, I don't even be out here to try to bash nobody. Everybody, I think a lot of folks, I think regardless,
it means more than one thing, honestly.
yeah,
Uh, being woke politically, being woke financially, being woke spiritually, being woke all the way around, and us, you know, understanding that the black man is the cradle of civilization, you know.
mm,
So if you're not a black man, I don't think you totally understand what woke means to us. You know what I'm saying? So her definition of woke is her definition.
hmm
It's definitely not wrong, but she probably is not totally woke. And we discussed this at the beginning of the podcast. Like, in order to see the light, you have to be in the dark.
hmm
Differentiate. You have to every yin there's a yang. You know, I
hmm
have to be in pain to understand what comfort means. You know, I have to be hurt in order to know kind of uh, what true love is. You know what I'm saying? So um, we all have our own journey in being woke in different instances. As a black male, I have to be woke civilly. You know what I'm saying? As a,
hmm
as a civil being, you know what I mean? We have a lot of tragedy. We have a lot of things that trigger us as black males. So I have to stay woke to that, you know,
right.
and passing it on to, our children. Hey, this is what I experienced in the workforce. Hey, this is what I experienced in just in the streets with different races. This is what
hmm
I experienced. So we're passing it on to them so they can be woke as well to what to expect in life, period.
Yeah, yeah, and that's true. Woke from different perspectives, like I say, and I think the term woke itself is like you said, it got so many meanings. It's like a loaded word. It's like
And
it's
it triggers some white folks. I've seen it, you know. All
yeah,
of a sudden this woke word is all over, and as I was looking for her when she backpedaled and got her 10-minute definition, I was seeing other videos on YouTube and they were saying, oh, this woke word is everywhere and da, 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 as it should be.
yeah.
We need.
It's uncomfortable conversations that had to be had. So it's
Mhm.
like I feel like we know it's uncomfortable. We embrace that as an uncomfortable situation. Let's go
Mhm.
into it, but let's still, it's kind of like that trip to the dentist or that trip to the gym when you ain't been in a while and you know how it's gonna feel when you go up in there. You
Facts.
know, you know what's needed. You know it's a better outcome once you do visit it. You know it's gonna hurt a little while after you visit it,
Mhm.
but after you come up out of there, you know you're gonna be better for going. So it's just a place we had to go. It's a conversation that had to be had.
Without a doubt. Yep. So we talked about the book that I've just pretty much submerged myself into, the four horsemen, and
Y'all spoke on it.
yeah, we spoke on it. It's a rabbit hole, so to speak, that will probably continue because the four horsemen being Amazon, Google, Facebook, and what's the fourth? Why do I always forget the fourth? Amazon, Google, Facebook. Hmm. Help me
Amazon,
out.
Google. Oh, I'm
With
trying to see. You say Amazon, Google, Facebook, but just Apple.
Apple, yeah, duh. I'm on Apple.
How about I say? How about I say not Mr. Apple himself?
Yes, I want an Apple device and left out my guy Steve Jobs. Shout out to Steve Jobs, man.
Hey,
And when
bro, I meant to talk to you about a little hot take my boy Trapper had
okay,
concerning ownership of Apple, and I really wanted to run that by you because I think
okay.
it's gonna be a real good conversation for you. I don't
Mhm,
know I can't remember all of the facts that he brought up, but I'm gonna definitely go back to that episode. I think it was
mhm.
like episode 30 of Trapping Tuesdays. All
Okay.
right. On there he says that he feel like the current um owner of Apple
Mm-hmm.
is the better owner out of him and Steve Jobs.
Tim
And I
Cook.
was yeah, yeah. He say Cook
Mm-hmm.
is a better owner than Steve Jobs in his opinion. And he was like, he don't think it's he don't think it's a question in his mind. And he gave a lot of facts to back it up, though. I ain't gonna lie, P. I was like, oh shit, okay. If you want to be real, he really is kind of broaching points. But I know how you feel about Mr.
Mm-hmm.
Jobs. God rest his soul. You feel me?
For sure.
How you feel about that statement though of the best own like the current ownership at Apple being the best ownership that it's actually had? What you think about that?
Well, let me pull my notebook out because we really some of the things that we got into in today's podcast
Yeah,
basically verifies that fact what he just said.
really.
Yes, we talked about Apple, and I'll rehash. I'll bring it back for anybody who missed the beginning of the podcast. We got an hour of power. We'll give you 2 hours of power for the free. How about that?
For sure.
So Apple actually has a cult following, right?
Hmm.
So it contributes to them being the most profitable business of all time. Now, Cook, at the time that he came in, definitely contributed to this being the most, profitable business of all time. But uh, Stephen Jobs, with his ingenuity, I believe uh, he had a format for an iPhone that, in my opinion, what they're doing, Steve Jobs wrote this format before he passed, and they're taking one feature at a time that Jobs has already, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, he spoke on that too. That
Yeah.
the way they was doing it, the way that one way Cook did it,
Mm-hmm.
was he stopped putting the focus on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
Jobs was investing in the phones,
Right.
and Cooks went away from that and started investing in the other elements. And it's
Right.
turning out to be because the phones themselves, like I say, like you said, they got a cult like following already. And they
Mm-hmm.
was already, to me, I always told folks the phones have always been nice, but they've also always been uh just kind of like anything else. If enough people tell you that it's great, then you think it's great. But if you really were to go and look at everything that's out there phone wise, you would see it's a lot closer than you probably realize. You know what I mean? And it's like,
Yeah.
but because the following and the marketing and the branding of the Apple itself, of the Apple products themselves, has been as excellent as it's been, it doesn't matter. So he focused on the other elements, you know,
Mm-hmm.
getting in on the it was man, I really wish I was able to pull up some of those points that Trap was making, but he was saying like all of the business strategic positioning moves that
Mm-hmm.
Cook has made with Apple, versus like the actual phone tech that's really you haven't really seen the phones make leaps and bounds
Mhm.
for real. But you've seen like business moves with Apple everywhere. You know what I mean? In every industry.
and and that's basically you know what I just said about the making of the phone. Like, I don't think we're
Hmm.
experiencing anything new. That I did a blog, go back to lfxmedia.blogspot 10 years plus ago. You know what I'm saying? This might have been 2010, somewhere around there. But Steve Jobs had um, hundreds of patents. You know what I'm saying? Hundreds of patents.
Right.
So at the time where he was in charge, it was important to get that cult following that were following the phone at that time. It was important to get them locked in. But then you bring in a true CEO, because Steve Jobs was a creative.
Hmm.
He's not, I mean, I'm not saying he was the CEO, but some people are better at managing, doing administrative type moves. That, take me for example. I am a super creative, but
Right.
when it comes to email, like, I'm like, help, what's the BBB, what's the CCC? I don't know. Yeah. CCC me, like, I don't know.
I got you, bro.
But I'm a super creative. But if there was someone to come in and do that simple, well, bro, here, you take this file and you zip it and you do this and send it over. Like, I'm like, okay.
Right.
That's me. It's like, maybe it's mundane tasks, day to day tasks that, you know, and being a CEO is not a mundane, it's not something that you overlook, and like, it's very major to a corporation. But for example, I'll give you Justin Phillips, who is, I'm involved in when it comes to merchandising. He got to a point where him and his partner were facing, now, do I get some schooling to be a CEO, or do I go and grab a CEO who has already proven in the field of different corporations and bring him in? And it's called delegation. We talk about this all the time. You know what I mean? So to answer your question, yes, Tim Cook is a better CEO than Steve Jobs. That is ultimately yes. And where he's going with Apple is headed to a subscription format where you pay $99. And don't quote me on this, but this is where it's heading. You pay $99 and you subscribe to all of the products, and you can get it on, not so much consignment, but this is your monthly payment, and you just pick what you want, and they'll add. You know how AT&T does me with this iPhone, like, oh,
Right.
we're just gonna, you were paying 75, 80, $100. Your bill is only going to go up $30, and we're going to give you a brand new 14. But and it's not a contract per se, but it might as
Yeah.
well be a contract, because I'm stuck paying this 14. But that's the format that he brought up on, and it soon, coming soon. Pay attention. That's where they're headed with it. And
Right.
for us, the book The Four that I read, I went over the the advantages, the disadvantages to this conglomerate of four businesses that run the world. And it's
Yeah.
tips,
Yep.
it's tips for us to pay attention to the moves that they make. We might be that next billionaire. We don't know, but we
Right.
we just keep to our due diligence, stay consistent, and that's not the goal. I want to be a billionaire. The goal is um, to act. Not the author of this book. He knocked his head a lot, and I wish I could pass the book on to you, but it's an audio book.
It's all
But
good, bro.
he knocked his head a lot in the business world and was swallowed whole by Google, Apple, and so he ended up being a teacher that teaches marketing slash something else at New York University. And his claim to fame is 6,000 students that I've taught the pitfalls of being the big four horsemen and the challenges that come to you, uh, when you the king, they always coming for your crown. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
definitely, shout out to Cook and what he's doing over there at Apple. I mean, it's the most profitable business of all time, you know. So
Big
and
salute, big salute. One thing, another move I see they making that I really was excited about that Trap spoke on was um the health, the medical devices,
mm-hmm,
teaming up with medical devices.
for
So you're
sure.
gonna be going, and that's like just such a chess move in and of itself, and even from an investment standpoint, uh, a chess move that you could be making if you're listening to me.
Mm-hmm,
That medical devices, Apple is teaming up with medical devices right now to try to do something um, with the diabetic field and everything. And you
mm-hmm,
already know how that can go. So yeah, that's just a love. Like I say, a love free game right there. But that is what it is.
mm-hmm.
Free game I was given. So we'll see. We'll leave that portion there.
Yep. Yep. As a CEO, as a corporation, um, we have to adjust to what is handed to us. You know what I mean? For whatever was going on with Amazon 2017 is going to be a little different now. And 2017 is when this book was written. So um, Bezos moved from the number 3 spot to the number 1 spot in 2021 and then back down. So then you have to look at, okay, what were the pitfalls? What are the advantages? What who was maximizing off of their product? And that's one of the things that I give a big shout out to Wall Street Trapper. He looks at a company per product and how beneficial is the product that they have to sell. That's the very first thing the trap looks at. And looking at the fact that Apple has a product that they it's low cost to make, but they want to sell it for a premium price. So what they compared it to was having the components of a Toyota and putting a Ferrari price tag on it.
Right.
That's how you get paid. So we actually mentioned one of the challengers is coming up to challenge the four horsemen, and I was going to save it for another pod, but we already mentioned it earlier. Alibaba, their outreach
Hmm.
their outreach goes way further than Amazon. You feel me?
Alibaba is international.
Worldwide, they're the biggest wholesaler in the shipping business. So them coming to challenge Amazon, stay tuned. You know what I'm saying? Stay tuned.
It's all about making the right business moves, man.
Hmm. Yep.
Positioning yourselves to be able to take advantage.
Hmm. The the author of the book is called The Four again. The author's last name is Galloway. He said, never before has it been easier to become a millionaire than right now. But
I can
at the
agree.
but at the same time, never has it been harder to become a billionaire. Hmm. So in a sense, how I translate what he's saying is you can make the money, but can you keep it, hold on to it, and
Stack on it.
make the money work for you? You know what I'm saying? We have what, 15, 16 billionaires in the city of Houston?
Yep.
Yeah. And that's just registered. You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right.
That's registered. Who knows what's
Members that
really?
want you to know it.
Yeah. Keep me out of Forbes and all of that.
Mm-mm-mm.
You know, all I think about is the movie Malcolm X when he was like, "Keep your hand out of my pocket."
There
Uh,
it is.
do not put me on Forbes. I mean, I'm not for it. But definitely, if you want to put me out there as a game changer, as a teacher, as an instructor, yeah, put me out there as that. You know, I'm we here to make millionaires. That's what we here to do.
Right.
You know what I
No
mean?
pocket watching. I'm all right.
Mm-hmm. You know, and along the route is certain things that you want to be aware of because you know we're heavily into music. You know, we got Pad that's actually a producer, and each
Right.
one of and we were just talking about this. Out of the four of us co-hosts, all of us have some type of MCing in our background. So
Yeah.
stay tuned to the theme song. We want to get busy on the mic one time.
Nothing to that but to do that.
Mm-hmm. Stick to it and do it. But yeah, definitely. It was a great pod. I mean, with no interruptions besides one phone call that came through
Mm.
that knocked me off the grid, and that one person who called me, they not even nowhere on social media. They didn't know that we're streaming on 3 platforms, live streaming right now. You know what I'm saying? We we
Right.
we live on Facebook on a Rico Verdict. We're live on LFX Media YouTube, and we're live on LFXmedia.live, our own custom site. So, you know, tap in,
For
comment,
sure. For
like,
sure.
subscribe. Yes, sir.
Yes, indeed. Definitely. Got a lot more to tap into, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we on the lookout. We got interviews coming up. We got ebooks
Oh,
coming up.
oh yeah.
We got a lot brewing for y'all, man. So y'all
Mm-hmm.
be on the lookout. Probably hit y'all with something even later on today with a
Mm-hmm.
sports pod. So y'all be on the lookout for that. Got a lot of sports news we need to get into.
Yeah, sad
Uh
news about the Cougs, man. But
Sad news about the coup.
yeah,
We'll
but
get
we
into that as well, man.
yeah we
Not too
celebrate.
much. I ain't gonna wallow in that, but
Yeah.
we know the gist of it. You gotta be healthy. You gotta
Yeah.
be fully intact.
Yep. Next man up. That's what sports is about. Period. You know, if
Yeah,
you got a superstar, I don't care if you the king, the goat, whoever you are, you still got to have a next man that you can say next man up. All right. You may not perform exactly as that person that's a superstar, but you need to give us, you know, a good 20 and 10. You know what I
for
mean?
sure. Salute to the Lakers. Going ahead and find a way to go ahead and get into the thick of the playoff hunt right now. Got the eighth seed without Brun Brun. Speaking of next man, figuring out
Mm-hmm.
ways to be 500 right now
Mm-hmm.
for one of the first times this season.
Mm-hmm. And they trying to say it's set up by the league that they want LeBron to go out like that.
Hey, however they want it to happen, play how they want to play. If that's how they think, and they still watching it, then so be it.
Yeah, fall back. But here's what I would like for you to do since we got you here. We you made the announcement that pretty soon you're going to be uh, working from home full time.
Yes, sir.
Um, give our audience a glance at what that looks like for you, if you want to do a 10-year back pedal, if you want to do a 7-year back pedal, but explain to them what what the process takes and your journey.
Uh, well, if you want to backpedal, I wanted to work from home as soon as I had my first child. Because I wanted to be free to be able to do as I please and go wherever he need me to be type.
Catch all the moments.
Right, catch all the moments. Don't want to miss nothing. So, the same year that my son was born, a little bit before he was born, I started getting into trading the forex market,
Mm,
which was a reintroductory to the trade and market in general from when I was 18. Uh, about to graduate high school and was introduced to penny stocks through a guy from my church. So
mm,
he was the first one that really kind of planted that seed of wanting to trade the market in general. And it's funny because to this day, me and his daughters real close, and and his youngest daughter in particular, she trades as well. So we talk often now, and it's just crazy. We've even talked about that at the time she was so young, she doesn't even really remember it. She remembers
mm,
the little theater room that they had,
mm,
but she didn't remember the us having a penny stocks class because at that time, it was just for the men.
mm,
She was young, but now it's like come full circle. So it's always real good to even still share that kind of trade. And she has the same fire that you see in us. So but
mm,
anyway, fast forward, even talking with her like we do, we talk about kind of how it grew from uh introduction to it. I always wanted to get back to it. Finding other
mm,
paths to make money, of course, other career paths that I looked into, but always feeling like I wanted to get back into the markets. And
mm,
then it kind of opened up when I was introduced to a company. What's their name? Uh, Kaizen Global, I think it was called.
mm,
I think it was called Kaizen. Um, and a guy by the name of Reza Mokhtarian. I give him his props because he was definitely the first guy that kind of lit that fire for me as far as
mm,
digesting content, digesting what he was saying about the markets because he was really teaching it and giving it away on YouTube. So I was like, hey, I'm gonna try to soak it up. And then I was introduced to well, really from that point, it kind of like sparked just the hunger to go and try to find more people that knew about it, find maybe even local people because I was like, it's one thing to look at these online classes and the courses sometimes would be like $400 down, $500 down. At the time, it's like, man, that's a lot of money. But it's definitely something that can be done. But it was like I want to make sure I do all of my due diligence as far as finding out if there's any other alternative routes out there. And was at work asking randomly, and literally, like I want to say, like the second person I asked ended up knowing something about forex because he was in a group chat on Facebook or something like that, like one of them Facebook groups where they be chatting and stuff and trying to get folks to join little businesses. And it was like a forex business, and he ended up, excuse me, oh, excuse me, he ended up plugging me in with one of the women from the group, and the rest was history. I kind of took off with that group. That's when I introduced it to you, bro. When I got to that actual group is when me and you were chopping it up heavy, and
mm,
I ran that by you, and then we was able to kind of be like the first little team, and you kind of seen the results of how even just trading together was able to reinforce both of us and our whole trading journey as well. So then
mm,
from there, you've kind of seen it in real time, just to blossom into helping a lot of my homies at the job be able to pay bills and having friends at work develop, their own trade status and own trade strategies and things like that, and coming and telling me thank you because you paid for all the family Christmas gifts this year, man. I appreciate you, bro. Like,
Yeah.
stuff like that that just, kind of, like I say, just it started off with just a hunger to try to eventually find enough ways to make money from home, even with real estate and things like that. Like we'll speak on with one of the interviews we have coming up. Uh, uh, someone we got even in that lane as well. Just trying to find a whole bunch of different ways to make a few $100s turn to a few thousand, and a few thousand keep me at the house with the fam, and that's it. No real aspirations to be rich, right? You just feel like you shoot for small victories at a time, and then they can all develop into you know a big victory in the end. So now it's just good to always have other folks that I see winning too. Got my bro that I told you about, because he been able to 10x his account over the last 2-3 weeks trading with me.
Oh, yeah.
It's stuff like that I want to share with everybody. And,
Hmm.
10x. You didn't hear me wrong. two
Give them a
weeks.
quick, give them a quick rundown of what happened with you in this particular situation. Just a quick rundown. You know what I mean?
Oh, long story short, had a trade account I put set up. Brody sent me $100. Told me he was looking at a pair that we had been discussing. Wanted me to get him in it. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, hey, not a problem at all. Shoot, we've been looking at it. You, my boy. It's not something I would typically do, but it's because usually what I would like to do is teach you all how to set up your own accounts and put your own money in there and trade it yourself. But he was sending me screenshots, of his own trade knowledge as well, that we've been able, like I say, getting him caught up and getting them to his own, get you
Mm-hmm.
out to the point where you can assess the markets for yourselves and see our own trades. So when you send it to me, I send it to you. We confirming each other's views of the market more so than just first
Mm-hmm.
time ever seeing it and just saying, okay, let's go. You can come into it and then you'll see like, okay, this is where I believe and really trust the market to be going, where I feel it's headed next. So, but long story short, sent $100 about a week ago, a week and a half maybe now. We got that to about 400 in 2 days. We took the 400, got them in a couple days ago again, and flipped that for another 300-400. So got that up to about 800. And like I say, after that we kind of, I don't even bother them on a daily. It was just like that's what we do. Like it's just we help we make money. Shit, we get in the markets, we trade, we run it up,
Mm-hmm.
lather, rinse, repeat. You take some out, you pay some bills, you chill. So in a matter of a week and a half, you can turn to $100 into, now the account roughly got to be around $1,000 and counting, because
Mm-hmm.
the pairs that we looking at, they still taking off, still running to the north. I'm still in now. I'm, like I say, I was able to withdraw a few hundred myself just the other day, and it's cool to be able to do it, because you're taking out more than what you put in. This is what you call making your money work for you. And that's there's no better feeling. There's nothing better than that. So,
Mm-hmm. And
and that's just one stream.
what we it's actually motivation. You know what I mean? It's motivation, but it wasn't the normal circumstances that we bring students or people interested in. Um, but it's a popular thing or
Oh yeah.
idea. People are like, "Hey, I got 500. Can you do this and that with it?" But it's called journaling. That's what it's called. You know,
Right.
and you taking that person and looking at you know the numbers that they read and you journal it. And as you make the progress, you have something to look back on because sometimes the it does repeat itself. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
oftentimes, most time, that's how you get your supports and resistance in the market. As
Mm,
all support and resistance are, is the history of the market in zones that it's bounced off of or bounced down off of
mm-hmm,
in previous times. That's all it is. And when you break those previous highs and you set new, that's when you get into uncharted territories, right? So it's like that's where I'm expecting gold to actually hit this year. So that's
mm,
one little piece of free game I'll give anybody listening if you want to know something we're expecting. When gold hits around 22, 2300, know you're here to hear first.
for sure. Yeah, we was around for the Bitcoin, the up, the down, you
Yep,
know, and we're
definitely call that one as well. I told everybody to get out at around 63K on
mm-hmm,
Bitcoin. I think it ended up hitting to about 65 or 66 before it dropped down
mm-hmm,
to what is that currently? What, 27, 26, something like that.
28, I think.
28. So yeah, I
Mm-hmm,
told everybody to get out at 60, at 50, what was it? No, it was 65.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, tell everybody to get out then.
Yeah, when the courses come along, we'll explain to them. It's a, it's called a higher high and a lower low. So
Yes, indeed.
just to keep it simple with you, where it's at right now at 28, probably me or Antho probably won't touch it until it gets as low as 7,500 or as high as the high that it reached, because it'll bounce around in between there, but it's definitely due to take off and hit 100, 200. So the people who say crypto is over, Bitcoin is over, nah, not the case.
Definitely not the case.
It's
It's
not.
still here. It's here to be. It's gonna be here, and it becomes more regulated, it'll become more valuable. So
Mm-hmm.
it's the smart thing to do is to find companies that you believe in, cryptos that you believe in, crypto companies that you believe in, invest in them now. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and as you see crypto become more of a day to day use, it's already at the ATM. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't know where you think it's going. It's already at the ATMs. Um, it's already online banking. It's
Mm-hmm.
already on websites. You can already use it. It's already implemented, and it's only gonna get bigger. So
Yeah,
find companies to believe in.
and we're both invested in Crow. So
Yes, that's one of our
mm-hmm.
personal ones that we believe in is Grow Crypto.com. So like I say, find yours that you believe in for whatever reasons you buy in. So uh and invest now because I'm telling you right now, all that is dead. That's exactly what they want you to think. So you go running somewhere else, and then boom, you're gonna wake up and the crypto market is gonna be jumped up 40, 50%. Then you're gonna be
Right.
like, oh man, it's crazy. And then it's gonna be jumped up 100+ percent. And
Mm-hmm.
it's gonna be
Stay
no
woke.
turning back.
Stay woke. Hold
So,
things that we presenting to you to stay woke. The story that we told about the big four or the four horsemen. They have a blueprint that this isn't going to be forever thing. You know, someone is going to topple Amazon. Someone is going to topple Apple. We discussed earlier that before Apple, I was on BlackBerry and thought, hey man, I'm never getting off of this BlackBerry. This we call it the crackberry. You know, but who would have thunk back then in the early 2000s that it would be and it's not obsolete. People still use Blackberries, and a lot of people in business and even like trading. You know. And the New York Stock Exchange, they still using BlackBerries to a certain extent. But definitely, we want you to stay woke and stay on top of what's trending. And, it's always assets over liabilities. That's the whole concept we're looking at.
Always.
Indeed. So, yep, anything else about the stream, the journey that you taken that you wanted to let them know about?
Oh, man, not too much more than that, bro. Just you know, um, when you talk about stream wise, you always got to be in search of opportunities. That's just part of entrepreneurship, right? So it's a ever evolving journey, and you find your ones that make your cash cows. That's what I'm sharing. The ones I have the most knowledge about. Like I say, trade in the markets. And just now kind of getting my feet wet in the real estate game out here in Houston. So trying to just use all of those things to my advantage and be able to just consistently stay
Mm-hmm.
off of the and then the media, angle that we playing, sports pod.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, there's a lot of different things we trying to work out. Merch. Uh, it's a lot of money to be made.
Entertainment. The platform launch that we're actually we talked about Pad with his course that's coming up, the
Yes, sir.
music course or production course. What we're waiting on is the platform to actually give us the goal. They're structuring the monetization, that end of it, as far as the subscriptions, and it'll be any day. So I'm gonna give them a call Monday and see what's the progress. But that's what we headed towards. Subscription for the whole platform eventually. So get your free game and free entertainment while you can. Um, the subscription platform is coming. The pay per view is coming, and stay tuned to the fall. We're going to be live streaming high school sports.
Yes, sir. Gonna be some good stuff coming up, man.
Mm-hmm.
Good stuff coming up sports wise. Good stuff coming up streams of income wise, business endeavor wise. Some giveaways I'm trying to do. So definitely be on the lookout.
Yep, there's a giveaway going on right now. I don't know if you tapped in, but I asked a question. We do the questions every morning or every afternoon. So
Hmm.
give me a number between, I think, 1 and 300, and I haven't picked a number when Little come home from her woman's convention.
Right.
We'll have her pick a number between 1 and 300, and you know we're gonna give a gift out next week. So stay tuned to that as well.
For sure.
Mhm.
Definitely want to do that, man. Definitely glad we got up in the mix today, though, man. Like I
Mhm.
say, definitely plan to probably get in the mix again today. Looking at some sports stuff right now. Want to put
Mhm.
together a whole little sports pod. We'll dive into that too, because it's a lot to cover. Um, like you say, U of H. We'll touch on that.
Mhm.
San Diego State, Miami. Come on now, let's get to it.
Mhm.
Let's see what we not Alabama being knocked off and Houston being knocked off, which is not what I saw happening. So,
Mm-mm.
definitely ready to see how this all pan out though.
Right.
How did the UT? Oh, you know what? I didn't see even you didn't even get this check on the UT game.
Mhm.
Did they end up pulling it off?
I didn't even see, bro. I lost. I'm not gonna say I lost interest, but it was just
Oh, I understand, brother. I trust and believe you didn't get no judgment this way.
Final Four or bust.
Let me see.
Yeah, then we got Tuesday. We got the All American game here in Houston. Um, Bronny and family will be down here, so the city will be lit.
Yeah.
We'll be out and about with lfxmedia.live. Stay tuned for that one. And then I think Thursday is a HBCU
Okay.
All American Slam Dunk contest.
UT did get the win over Xavier yesterday, so Tech UT is gonna be representing Texas in the final in the Elite Eight.
Okay.
So they'll be coming to H Town to represent Texas for us. That's greatly appreciated.
Mm-hmm.
U of H didn't quite get it done. They would they would have been playing each other. They would have been playing each other if they had been able to figure it out, but they didn't. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll just take the revenge game. They gotta avenge they
Right.
Texas mate.
Mm-hmm.
That game is tomorrow at 4, by the way.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see that Florida Atlantic Kansas State Cinderella game
Mm-hmm.
tonight. Three at nine, number 3 at number 9. Creighton and San Diego State. So yeah, a lot of good sports stuff. We'll cover all of that. We'll cover all that.
Okay. You heard it here first. Good brother.
Good brother, good brother, good brother. It's the Good Brother Podcast Sports Edition coming at you real soon. Y'all be on the lookout.
Indeed. That's what we're looking for. So we gave you the nice synopsis of the four horsemen. And to be honest, it really has a spiritual message to it. You know what I mean? Because they were saying, um, comparing, the cult following with Apple and Amazon being mentioned as the god of what they do. You know what I mean? So um, I took it back to the four horsemen in Revelation. So we never know. They have a monopoly on the world. These four companies. So it is something to look at and think about. Stay
For
woke.
sure.
Stay woke.
For sure.
Yeah. So definitely, if you tuned in on Facebook, we appreciate you. If you could share this with someone who might be looking for this information or might not have been looking for it and still got it and received it and appreciated it. We appreciate you. Share, comment, like on the Facebook. Definitely on our YouTube channel, LFX Media. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. And our own platform, lfxmedia.live, where you can go and we're on we're on 24/7. We have on demand, you can catch the social experiment. You can catch the LFX Media, the podcast. You can catch the Streets T podcast. You can also catch Custom Beat Talk with the Juggernaut, Custom Beat King.
Sure, for sure. For sure. Definitely, definitely. As I always say, thank y'all for allowing us to do what we love and share it with y'all. So yo, 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 appreciate you. It's the Good Brother Antho, man. I'm out.
Without a doubt. And I'm the host with the mostest, Paji Carter. Um, if you didn't know, now you know. We will definitely see you on the next show. Peace.